Yo, what's good, you guys? It's your boy BarbecueChief back at it again with another video. This is NFL pick predictions for the draft. Only first round, as you know. I'm only gonna do one round, sort of a mock draft kind of thing, just for the first round. Hope you all enjoy. I'll see y'all in the. Also, make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon, because whoever subscribes to the channel lately, and even my old subscribers, I will subscribe back to you. And that is not clickbait. I actually mean it. Hope you all enjoy this one. Let's go. BarbecueChief back at it again, doing an NFL pick prediction video here, and you might not be able to see it on camera. I have a sheet off to the side that I actually made the picks myself of who each team will pick. I used their first and main primary person to pick up in the draft off of a different site. When this is coming out, this is a lot different. So let's get into this one. This again might be a shorter video than usual. I might try to talk about each team. So let's get into it. Jacksonville. Okay. Jacksonville, I know you're with Doug Marrone again this season. I hope, or shoot, you're not with Doug Marrone anymore. You're with Urban Meyer, which I could definitely see. He has been a good coach in college, but he's back. I could see Jacksonville definitely, and everybody knows in the mock draft, Jacksonville's predicted to take Trevor Lawrence, and I think that's going to happen again. I think that's actually true, is the Jags will pick Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's headed back to a warmer state. Don't get me wrong, he's headed to Florida. I really don't. Jacksonville, that's their main position of need, is quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence, with the 60-plus yard throws he made, like Pat Mahomes does, just not as sidearmed as he does. Just know Trevor Lawrence will be a good fit for this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. They do have some speed. They do need to gain a little more defense. But Trevor Lawrence is the main pick here. Next up, the Jets. I chose quarterback because if you don't remember, the Jets traded away Sam Darnold. That or released him, I can't remember right now. To I assume to pick up a quarterback here in the draft. And I picked Justin Fields for him. And I really think that'll be a good fit for this Jets offense with Robert Saleh at the head coaching spot. I know he was a D coordinator, but you see Mike Tomlin, he was a defensive coordinator for the Vikings for a year. And you see where he's at now. There is a mix-up here in the change roster. It is not the Dolphins, it is the 49ers. I tried finding an updated roster, or an updated draft order, but this is what I found that works the most. This is a 49ers spot. 49ers, really your main position need is QB, so I picked somebody that nobody really thinks is a first round quarterback in Trey Lance. I think this would work with how Kyle Shanahan runs his offense. And you can see it. Because there is a certain point where you say, well, this is okay on an offense. I mean, it's like what Alex Smith did for Patrick Mahomes in 2018 when we drafted him, or 2017 when we drafted him. It was just a teaching year. I feel like that's what's going to happen in San Francisco. Is Jimmy G is going to be a like a mentor to Trey Lance here and get a good change to it. Next up is the Atlanta Falcons. New head coach this year. We will have to see. So, okay, the Falcons most needed a tight end, and it shows lately. This last year and the year before, kind of been up and down with the Dan Quinn head coaching. I know Dan Quinn has been fired, and I said that in a predictions video. I predict Trevor Lawrence to go to Jacksonville. I predict Justin Fields to go to New York. Trey Lance to head to Miami. For the Falcons, I picked Kyle Pitts, the Florida tight end, who, yes, has done amazing throughout his college career, and you can tell he has changed. But he would be a good fit to this Atlanta offense. Calvin Ridley is gone. A receiver would be next up in your high priority for these Falcons. And then a little bit of defense, honestly. But next up, the Cincinnati Bengals. There's a lot of teams that want O-line. Don't get me wrong, there's offensive tackle positions out there too. Cincinnati wanted an offensive tackle, or just some kind of offensive line they could transfer to offensive tackle. And I picked an Oregon O-line in Penei Sewell. I think it's Penei Sewell. From Oregon. That's main set of an offense is if you can get protection for a quarterback, there's a chance that many of these teams could overrush the AFC and not think about it. There are some changes coming here to the AFC side, and it's going to come quick. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles in a trade. Actually, it should be the Miami Dolphins. They traded down, and the Eagles traded down. The Dolphins, they mostly needed an edge rusher to get pressure to the quarterback. That was their quick main primary thing to use. But for the Dolphins, I picked Kwity Paye of Michigan, an edge rusher who would be very helpful. I wish I could do the combine so I could show you. I wish I had the combine grades with me so I could tell you how these guys have been doing. But combine is now more this year. It's the pro days. But these are some guys that would be amazing fits to these teams. And I found one that will probably work for the Chiefs. But I will say later on, this is just a first round pick. My predictions of picks. So out of the first, I'll do top 10 and then go down the line. To make it's going to be a little bit longer. Don't get me wrong. Down to number 7, the Detroit Lions. They honestly needed secondary help, so that includes the cornerbacks or DBs, defensive backs as well, safeties, and it's just really safeties and corners. That main backfield crew that will make interceptions, that will make other stuff. For the Lions, I picked Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech, a cornerback that this team, if they could have a good defense to the Jared Goff offense, and whoever's the head coach can do well, there's a chance that this Detroit Lions team could work up the ranks. The NFC North is going to be a tough one, though. But let's kind of get... And the Lions have a little bit of a tougher time. Next up, the Carolina Panthers. They also needed a cornerback. And who other than an Alabama cornerback to choose for this team of the Panthers? I know you've got a lot of people that are coming from all around. Not many get invites to this draft. I'm picking Patrick Surtain the second. This is a good guy. Again, this is not off combine grades. This is off watching college football when college football was still going for the D1 schools. And there's been a lot of change for it. Number 9, the Broncos. One of your main positions of need, Denver, was a linebacker because you don't have Von Miller anymore. And you're losing a few of them. And you're losing a few linebackers. Basically, I'll just say this now. I picked Eric Stokes from Georgia, a linebacker, who could probably help you out. I know you probably need more edge rusher style and linebacker set. Go deeper down into the rounds. Whatever you get on that set, you should be able to get a higher up cornerback or something that slips through the cracks in the first round. But I pick Eric Stokes, Georgia. Nope. That's wrong. Actually, it's Jamin Davis from Kentucky. Just kidding. And then to round out the top 10, Cowboys, it's been your defense that's kind of just been crappy lately. And again, it's not your fault. It's because of injuries and other things. But at number 10, this is where I actually have Eric Stokes, the cornerback, going to from Georgia. It's to the Cowboys. I read too far down the list, and this Cowboys team, if they can get a strong cornerback on the other side of this defense, there's no stopping this NFC East division. There's no stopping this Cowboys team. So, going back through the top 10, I know there's a lot more to go through. There's 22 more to go through. I'm going to do the top 10 here. Top 10, Jags, Trevor Lawrence. 2, the Jets, Justin Fields. 49ers, Trey Lance. Falcons, Kyle Pitts. Bengals, Penei Sewell. Dolphins, Kwity Paye. Lions, Caleb Farley. Panthers, Patrick Surtain II. Broncos, Jamin Davis. And number 10, the Cowboys, Eric Stokes. Now, 11 through 20. Number 11 is the New York Giants. The Giants mostly needed an edge rusher. The main guys, the main bulk of the teams, like the edge rushers, the D line, O line, those were some of the heavy main sets that some of these teams needed to on a rebuilding process. The Giants, I picked up an edge rusher for you. I picked Osa Odiguzua. I don't want to pronounce that name wrong. Osa from UCLA, an edge rusher. If you can get a guy that matches in another round or even another trade up for a second round pick or a third round pick for this year, I would pick two edge rushers that can get completely to that quarterback. And then number 12 is not the 49ers. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. And at one of their main positions, they do need a little more work to, is the receiver position. Now, hear me out. We've got Deshaun Jackson retiring from the NFL. You got Julian Edelman retiring from the NFL. Other receivers and quarterbacks and other players retiring from the NFL, including Alex Smith, who retired yesterday, which I do not blame him on that. But the Eagles, their main concern was a wide receiver. And after the humongous outbreak season he had this year, I hope the Eagles pick Devonta Smith from Alabama with his Heisman year. Who else to pick? They're the first team to pick up a receiver. If something goes completely odd in the top 10, it's going to be different. But Devonta Smith is a main need for the Philadelphia Eagles. And they need it bad. Chargers need someone to match Joey Bosa. Yes, I know Joey Bosa is getting old. Just match somebody that can get to the quarterback quick enough. If Joey Bosa can be slipping through the gaps, this other guy will have more time to work his butt off in these gaps to get the quarterback. That's number 13. The edge rusher is Jalen Phillips from Miami, the University of Miami, Florida. That's going to be a good edge rusher to have when it comes to playing time and helping get to quarterbacks, because you're going to have a tough time this season in the AFC West. Number 14, the Minnesota Vikings. They really just need, like I said in another video, a defensive secondary. So that includes safeties, strong safety, free safety, and cornerbacks / defensive backs or nickel backs. And they needed a safety the most. The Vikings, since Harrison Smith has left for free agency, I'm not sure if he's retired. I think I read that once. But since Harrison Smith is gone, you're going to be picking it, or I predict you guys picking up Andre Cisco from Syracuse, a safety who could be a really good help if you train him so good in the off-season training camp stuff. You have a chance to lock the there's NFC North intentions there. You're gonna have a tough time though with the Packers being a tough team to fight up for that top spot. Patriots. What else is there to say? I know you guys are trying to find a quarterback. Honestly, in one of the free agent signings, you guys seem a little desperate for a QB, so that's why you re-signed Cam Newton. Honestly, in my books, I picked up a quarterback for you guys. Because you don't need a guy like Cam Newton, who's selfish, and Bill Belichick, who is a team player who wants to pass it across the field and run it with his running back core. The Patriots, I've chose Zach Wilson from BYU. And I assume Cam Newton will be like a mentor, like Alex Smith was, to his successor. So that's going to be a tough one to battle with. The Patriots, I think Zach Wilson's a good fit for you guys. It'll just have to come down to what's the best decision for us in the first round. These are just, again, my predictions of all 32 teams. On to it. Number 16, the Arizona Cardinals. They do need a little bit of defense, even though they bulked up that D-line and a little bit of the safety the safety position and a little bit of the linebacker court. They still needed a little bit on the cornerback side. Someone to match up with Patrick Peterson would be a good thing, honestly, for the for the Cardinals here. And that's why I picked J.C. Horn, a cornerback out of South Carolina. Yes, I've seen some film of that, but not fully. I know there's some divisions of conferences of Division I that started later. There's not going to be much film for these guys getting to want to know how these guys play. And next up, the Raiders. Honestly, I know I'm a Chiefs fan, hated Raiders. I'm going to get this out of the way. Raiders, you just need, honestly, an offensive lineman, which I picked Samuel Cosme from Texas. And this is actually going to be a good pick for you guys, but you're still going to have a tough time with the Chiefs kind of up in your division when I add somebody else to protect Patrick Mahomes. You might need a little bit more defense free agency-wise and draft-wise down the road. So we'll get into that more. Dolphins, their second pick of this round. It was, I think it's a compensatory pick, or is there? No, this is their main pick. Their actual main pick. They traded up for other picks down below. But their main pick, Dolphins, I picked up the next guy you really, really needed. Or I picked up, honestly, another edge rusher for you. I didn't mean to pick another one, but another edge rusher for you guys. Honestly, you need it. Greg Rousseau from the University of Miami, Florida. Miami Hurricane. And yes, I can see that totally here. But you do need edge rushers if you want to have a team that can go to the playoffs and challenge some of the teams that have been pushing for it. There, or you even make the seventh spot to head into this next season and work through a wild card spot. You see how the Buccaneers did. I mean, if you can work a wild card spot here, you have a chance of knocking some of these heavy teams that have built in free agency, that are going to build in the draft, to fall, to completely alter them under their feet. The Washington football team, this guy, honestly, Washington football team is offensive line again. Surprise, surprise, but if Heineke's starting QB, there's always going to be a chance that more things can change. But the football team, the Washington football team, I predict him to take Trey Smith, Tennessee offensive lineman, add him to the outer edge to protect that blind side, to protect him, to protect Taylor Heineke and some of these NFC East teams that are bulking up like usual, like every other team is. But let's get on to it. And the final round, the final one of number 11 through 20 is the Bears. Sorry, Trubisky, I don't think you're going to stay much longer. I am picking Mac Jones from Alabama, the quarterback, to drop down this far for you to pick and be a predecessor and be a successor to Mitch Trubisky. You might have some older guys, some older quarterbacks playing for the Bears, but it's like a mentor to you. But I think Mac Jones would work really well in Matt Nagy offense. If it's still Matt Nagy, I'm not sure. I've been looking at the NFL stuff, but kind of been bouncing around. So 11 through 20, Giants, I have Osa from UCLA, an edge rusher. For the Eagles, it's Devonta Smith from Alabama, the Heisman winner. For the Chargers, it's Jalen Phillips, an edge rusher. For the Vikings, it's Andre Cisco, a safety from Syracuse. For number 15, the Patriots, I chose Zach Wilson, BYU, a quarterback from BYU. For the Cardinals, I picked J.C. Horn, a cornerback from South Carolina. For the Raiders, I picked Samuel Cosmi, an O-lineman from the Texas Longhorns. Number 18, I chose Greg Rousseau, an edge rusher from the Miami Hurricanes. Football team, I chose Trey Smith, Tennessee O-lineman. And for number 20, for the Bears, I chose Mac Jones, quarterback, Alabama. That's 1 through 20 already set. I'm just going to do the last 12 here, 21 through 32. Let's get into this one, because this is going to be a long set. For the Colts in their first one, like I said, a lot of these teams needed D-line, linebackers, edge rushers, offensive line, running back, quarterback, receiver, but quarterback, O-line, D-line, edge rusher. Those main four. And the Colts needed an offensive lineman, specifically an offensive tackle. I chose Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State, an offensive lineman. Probably can be moved anywhere for him to get a better feel of how things work. That's who I predict the Colts to take. The Tennessee Titans. One of their main positions of need was defense, cornerback. They got to the first round and then Ravens knocked them out. Don't get me wrong, the Ravens are somewhat of a good team. Besides the running back Lamar Jackson, even though he acts like a quarterback. But that's just me. A little overrated. Titans, you needed a quarterback. Was one of your main position needs. I predict Tyson Campbell from Georgia, a cornerback from Georgia, for you to pick, because if you bulk up that defense, there's no way anybody is stopping you in the AFC South. Here, the New York Jets, this is a traded pick. The Jets' first pick was actually their main pick. The Jets needed an edge rusher as their second main primary position of need. For this one, I chose Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma, an edge rusher. And you see the guys that have come out of Oklahoma. Well, is it going to be a product of that Oklahoma program to be good on an NFL team like the Jets here? If the Jets can strengthen up, this AFC East is going to be hot through the year, because there will be teams fighting back and forth for that top spot. Okay, up to the next one. The actual pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They needed defense. A lot of teams mostly needed defense, and that included the Steelers here. They mostly needed cornerback / defensive back. So, we'll just say here, Kerry Vincent Jr. from LSU, cornerback. You had a chance to win it all. Yes, I get Alabama's in the way, the most winningest program ever. But there are some changes that can be made for some of these teams coming into the NFL, or even going through the playoffs. Because the Steelers, oh man, there were so many things that you did wrong. And you had the Cleveland Browns, who, mind you, I know it's something off topic. Mind you, started off very flat, the Cleveland Browns did. And then still had a chance of winning the division. You see what I mean? You still had a chance of winning the division. And that's crazy. Because if you don't watch out, Pittsburgh, with this cornerback you're going to get, the Cleveland Browns will sneak up on you. That is just my guess, is that the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they do not make this pick, I know they still have some more defensive guys and offensive guys to select, but if this cornerback is not chosen in an earlier round, in an early round, it's going to be tough because the Browns are on the surge of trying to win a division title. And they want it. They want it bad. Onto it, another pick from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and as you can see, trade from the Los Angeles Rams. And next main position of need for the Jags was a wide receiver. I know I gave Devonta Smith to the Eagles, but I'm predicting the Jags to pick up Amari Rodgers. And as I said, I have a paper over here to my right that you can't see when it goes on camera. Yeah, it blurs it out. But there's some stuff on here that I know my order list and who I have. Changes. Amari Rodgers, Clemson receiver. Him and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they have a chance to make it a tough one in the AFC South. The Browns. Oh my goodness. 11-5. Yes. First wildcard game in forever. Great. Amazing. Beat the Steelers. Almost beat the Chiefs. If this team takes this prediction that I make, and I'll just say it now, Adito Kumbo from Notre Dame, an edge rusher, you might have a chance of giving the Chiefs a dogfight in the playoffs and in the seasons. Because it's going to be tough for some of these teams to take what is theirs. The Cleveland Browns have a chance of winning the division this year if they pick up an edge rusher. It's going to be crazy. It's crazy to say that, but if you look back so many years, look how quickly it's changed back and forth. And yes, I know the Browns started off really at a low spot, but you see how they've kind of gone lately. I mean, this edge rusher, Adetokunbo from Notre Dame, will probably be a dagger to help this Browns team out. Next one up, the Ravens. They also needed an edge rusher. This is another Miami Hurricane going off the board. I picked Quincy Roach. They definitely need somebody to kind of complement on the other side. They do have a good edge rusher. There's my prediction, but it's going to be a tough prediction, a tough time for these teams to really take their position of need here. On to the next one. The New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints. No quarterback. I would sign a guy in free agency because I don't trust Jameis Winston. That's just me. But defense was a main thing. If you can match a guy with Marshawn Lattimore, you should be totally fine on defensive side. So actually, I'm going to talk about it now. Trey Brown is my pick from Oklahoma, a cornerback. If him and I just said his name. If him and Marshawn Lattimore can if they can be the two starting corners that Saints team will probably be a straight lockdown team on the defensive side. The offensive side, they still kind of need to put some more chain in command in, and probably add another quarterback. Yes, because I know you got the multi-knife person of Taysom Hill. James Winston didn't do too well last time he was a starting QB, honestly, in my opinion. That's it. I'm not going to get any farther into that. Final four. Packers. Honestly, I'm just going to get to it. Your offensive line, you need an offensive tackle to kind of complement David Bakhtiari. If you can get an offensive tackle that has definitely worked their tails off in a mindset of don't give up. This is one I really wanted to give you guys. It's Bryce Hargrove from Pittsburgh, an offensive lineman. Yes, I get it. He's going from Pittsburgh to a cold state in Wisconsin. There's not much change there. But I really think he can be a help and be a complement to Bakhtiari. That, or you might switch it with the person I had for the Chiefs, because he's a D3 standout, and that I'm already talking about the Chiefs pick. But you could switch those two out if you needed to. A great D3 player. Don't get me wrong. Kind of get to it. That one. 31. Bills. I skipped over you. That's my bad. Marco Wilson is my pick for you. You do need to bulk up the defense a little bit, because it kind of showed in most of the games this last season. Marco Wilson's my pick there. I skipped over. That's my bad. But to get on to it. Chiefs, Quinn Miners, D3 prospect, D3 outstanding prospect from Wisconsin Whitewater. Would be a good selection for the Chiefs here. And I know it's a first rounder. He can be a second rounder if need be. And we pick up another guy to tighten up our defense, because it definitely needs it for the Chiefs. And then on to it, the Buccaneers. Super Bowl champs. Their main position of need was a defensive line, an interior defensive lineman. I'm predicting Tyler Shelvin, LSU, to go to the Buccaneers and be a very hefty person, or hefty guy that we talk about later on. Hope you all enjoy, and those are my picks, predictions for each team. Only first round. Hope you all enjoy, and I'll see y'all in the